What's up, everyone? Welcome back. This is going to be my review of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, and Episode 3. Now, I know that I'm a week late to Episode 2, and maybe a day or two late to Episode 3. I'm basically just late with stuff. But the reason why, for those of you that are new followers here, I'm a DJ. My career is a DJ, so I'm on the road all the time. I just spent a full week away in Europe. I did Italy twice. I did Ibiza, Tenerife, Slovenia. I only got back yesterday, so yeah, it's difficult for me sometimes to just be bang on time with doing reviews and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm home now, so let's talk about episode 2 and 3. Episode 2, holy shit, that was a sick episode. I'll just say right out the gate, I thought it was an amazing episode. Really, really enjoyable. Totally did not expect everything that happened in that episode. I just didn't expect it. Like, the whole siege on Jackson for me was obviously a surprise because that isn't in the games, and it was just it was so enjoyable to watch that happen because, you know, it was like one of the massive episodes that you get in Game of Thrones, like a big war, but randomly we just got it thrown in there in episode 2. It was just so good. I feel like they pulled everything off perfectly, like from the visual effects to the cinematography, to the directing, to the performances, just everything that happens in that episode, how they managed to like go between different scenarios, between the siege on Jackson, everything that's happening with Tommy, and then going in between Jesse and Ellie, and then Joel and Abby. There was so much going on in this episode that I just feel like they did a really good job at pulling it all off, and I loved that episode. I also hated it. So let's just get straight into the whole thing that everyone wants to hear about, Joel getting killed. So this was, once again, devastating and heartbreaking. It is every single time. I've just completed Last of Us 2 again for the second time, and The Last of Us Part 2, the game, is one of my all-time favorite games. I absolutely love it. I think it's amazing. For me, it's a masterpiece. The story, the writing, everything for me is just bang on. And I love the fact that Joel died early in the game. I say I love it. I don't necessarily love it because I don't want Joel to die. But in story terms and for what it created for the game and for what happens, everything with Ellie and Abby and just basically the whole story of The Last of Us 2 past Joel dying is so... I just love it. It's so dark and brutal and everything's so fucked up. But Joel dying really needed to happen for the story to be told in this way. And I was really hoping that the show, followed through with that and did the same thing that they did in the games. And they did. And I didn't think they were actually going to. I thought that they might have sort of prolonged it till the end of season 2 or done something where Joel survives or something. I don't know. But I couldn't imagine them killing off Pedro Pascal and Joel so early on in the season. And to be honest, I thought they probably would do something to try and keep Joel alive because Pedro Pascal is the biggest star of the show. But no, they actually fully went in on it, and I've got to give them praise for doing that because that's, once again, knowing what the reaction was from The Last of Us Part 2, the game, and how many fans like really did not like that decision to just go and do it again is a brave thing to do, I think, and fair play for doing it. I'm so happy they did it, but I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. I wish that I actually recorded my reaction because I was in bits. I always tear up in this moment, but I don't know, there was something about it. Well, I know exactly what it was. Bella Ramsey's performance as Ellie in that moment is the reason why I was so heartbroken and devastated again and again, because I've seen the episode 3 times. I've also watched people react to it on YouTube multiple times, and each time it made me cry, it made me tear up, and it's only when Ellie starts screaming out for Joel, and that is because of the performance that Bella Ramsey's given in that moment. It was, for me, I thought she did an amazing job. I know she isn't the perfect Ellie for what we want for the fans of the game. We know she doesn't look like our Ellie, let's say, but I think she has proven herself in season 1 to be a good casting choice for the character. But I was worried about her in episode 1 of season 2. I was like, she doesn't look older. She doesn't feel like Ellie. And I don't know how she's going to be able to have all these emotions and expressions. Well, in that moment, to me, she kind of showed me, okay, maybe she can actually do this. And some other moments now in episode 3 that I'll go into in a moment. But yeah, I thought she did a great performance. Caitlin Denver as Abby, great performance. Again, I don't know how they have cast her as Abby, in the sense of Abby's such a powerful, menacing character, to be able to do the things that she does in the game, for everyone to listen to her and like obey her because she is like a brute. For her to turn around and tell her friends like, do this and do that, and for them to listen and stand back and watch her beat some guy to death, and they disagree with it, but they're still just allowing her to do it. It's like, it's hard to believe, because Caitlin Denver just is so petite and so small. It's hard to see her as Abby, but she's doing a really good job as Abby, like playing the role. I just wish that she had taken steroids or some shit. And Pedro Pascal as Joel, I mean, I feel like he was a perfect Joel, like really, really good Joel. I'm devastated that he's gone. We're gonna be getting him in flashbacks, but there is a sadness. There is like a sadness in me that Joel's no longer going to be part of the actual story going ahead. It's weird. I'm so happy that they went through with it, but I also have a sadness that we've lost Pedro and Joel again. What have you done? We'll just say quickly that there was a couple of things that I was frustrated with, but then they made sense eventually. One, Tommy not being with Joel when Joel got killed. In the games, Tommy's with him, and for me, it made sense that for Tommy to be with Joel. So it was driving me mad that it was Dina with Joel and not Tommy, and I was like, why? Like, I don't get why. But then I realized, like, actually, it makes more sense because now Dina has an incentive to actually go and hunt down all these people with Ellie, because she was there, and also she's seen the wolf badge on some, I think it was a badge or whatever it was, but she noticed that they were wolves and she heard all the names. So yeah, it just gives Dina more of an incentive to go out now and actually hunt down these people with Ellie, whereas in the game she never really had that. She kind of just went with Ellie because she loved her. Say loved her, they only kissed really at this point. It wasn't even like love. So yeah, in the game they kind of just skipped things through. Here it makes more sense. So I was all right with it in the end, but it was still yet to see what Tommy's gonna do, because in episode 3 he doesn't really, at the minute, he's not really ready to go out or trying to find Abby or anyone. But anyway, that's my thoughts for episode 2. Sorry, I've really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great episode. Because I knew what was happening and I knew what was coming, it wasn't as good as it probably would have been if I hadn't have known. So for me, I would give the episode an 8 out of 10. I can totally see how this episode would be a 9 or a 10 for anyone who hasn't played the games and hasn't known any of the spoilers or the story and have just been watching the show and enjoying it. I can totally see this would be a 9 or a 10, but because I knew what was happening, I knew what was coming, I didn't have the shock value really, apart from just being totally surprised that they even followed through with it again. Anyway, that's my review for episode 2. Right, let's get into episode 3. So once again with episode 3, I thought it was a great episode. It obviously was a lot slower. It didn't really do too much, but I feel like it was important for there to be some time where things just sort of simmer down for a moment because of what's coming and obviously what's just happened. Like, literally, it seemed like half of Jackson got murdered and killed. Ellie's just gone through all this. Joel's died. Tommy's having to deal with it. Ellie was in hospital. Like, there were so many things that had to be sort of dealt with for a period of time. And in this episode, it actually skips ahead 3 months. Which for me, it makes sense. In the games, obviously, you can't wait 3 months. You have to just skip ahead, and the game just keeps things flowing. But in reality, this is probably what would happen. You know, you'd have to have a timeout. Everyone gathers the thoughts, recoups, builds their strength up again, and decides like, okay, what do we do now? Like, how do we ever go through? How can we go through something like that again? And protect ourselves more. And now there's the whole thing that Joel's dead and Ellie's trying to, well, the council's trying to figure out if people should go out and find his killers and kill them. And there's a whole debate whether like that's a good idea. There's one guy saying we need to forgive. And then the one thing I really liked was the bartender guy, the bigot who homophobic to Ellie and Dina. I love the fact that he stood up for Ellie. I just like his character. You know, he seems like a really raw, gritty character, and I just like that he stood up for Ellie. And yeah, that whole council thing, it was a bit weird because when Ellie did her speech, I was like, this doesn't sound like Ellie. But then I was realizing, oh, no, she's just lying here. She's just literally just trying to get people to go out so that she can get revenge. She just wants to take out all these people and just go on this crazy, mad revenge rampage. And she was just trying to, like, make people tempted into going to do it. But really, she don't give a shit. She just wants to get revenge. So... yeah, I mean, I liked it all. It wasn't the best episode. It wasn't, not that much happened. But I really did enjoy the chemistry between Dina and Ellie. Now, in this episode, this was the first time I felt pretty much throughout the whole season 2 so far that Bella Ramsey's actually feeling a bit like Ellie. She hasn't felt like Ellie at all so far for me. And in this episode, it's the first time I actually started to feel like she was a bit like Ellie, and she felt a little bit older as well. She did seem a little bit older in this episode, so I did start to have a little bit more of like that feeling of being connected to Ellie. I haven't really felt that really for the last 2 episodes, and that's been a huge worry of mine. Is like, how are we gonna be able to follow the show through with just Bella Ramsey being at this character Ellie with no Joel? I just didn't know how they were going to do it, but I think now there's a really good balance between Bella Ramsey and the other actress. I forget her name, the one who plays Dina. I think they're doing a really good job at balancing each other out. I actually like the humor. I like their little relationship they've got, like, blossoming. I like the chemistry that they've got there. So for me, it was actually really enjoyable. I really enjoyed watching this episode and seeing Ellie just getting ready to go out, how Dina then comes in and helps with being a bit more organized with plans. I like the fact that the bigot guy, I don't know his name, can't keep calling him bigot guy, but anyway, I like that he came out and helped Ellie and gave her a new rifle. Also in this episode, we get introduced to the Seraphites. So they are called Seraphites or Scars, depending on who you ask, I guess, in the game. If you're Ellie or if you're playing as Abby, they call them Scars because they do have the scars on the face, but their actual name are Seraphites, and they are a religious cult who follow this prophet who in this episode 3, they talk about briefly. They say that obviously the prophet's been dead 10 years. I don't know how much they're going to bring into the show about the prophet. But yeah, this was a really weird perspective to see the Seraphites with kids and just like almost like they're just normal people living, trying to survive. It was weird because in the games they are the worst things ever, the worst brutal people ever. The things that they do, which I'm not going to spoil, but the things that these guys do is so dark and so brutal that I was surprised that we got to see this perspective of it. And I guess the show's kind of just give you different... the show's trying to give you different perspectives because really everyone's just trying to survive. So it's showing you different angles and different perspectives. The game's like that because you play as Ellie and it's her perspective for the first half, and then you play as Abby and then you see her perspective, and it really makes you relate and connect to them in different ways that you never thought you would. So I feel like the show's kind of doing that a little bit here, but it's weird to see it, especially like because these guys are so bad. They're so stealthy in the game. You know, they blow the whistle. Well, they do a whistle, which is so good in the game where there's a moment where you hear them blow a whistle and you're playing as Ellie. And I just hope that they do that in this show. But I was hoping that that moment was going to be the introduction to the Seraphites like it is in the game. But they introduced it this way, which is just a little bit weird. But yeah, anyway, everyone gets killed. All the Seraphites are dead. And Ellie and Dina are then like, who's done this? They've even killed kids. Is this Abby and her crew? And yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. I'm intrigued to understand who actually has done this. Because to me right now, I'm like, actually, who has done this? I don't actually know. Because the kid's dead. And I don't want to say too much. But yeah. Anyway, it was an interesting moment, and I look forward to finding out more about that. It will just be the WLF, the Wolves, and then we finally get the end shot of all the army going through the city of Seattle, Great shot, just showing you just how many people there are there, and what Ellie and Dina have got themselves into is just so insane. That the fact there's that many people, it's literally a military, an army, and there's Ellie and Dina riding straight into that to try and kill and hunt down all Abby and her friends. So yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see how they're going to tackle this in the show. I don't know what they're going to do to make it believable, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Just before I finish this, I will say the actual shots of Seattle, and when they're on horseback, when Ellie and Dina are riding on horseback and they're going through the woods, it looked amazing. It looked just right from the games with all the different cars as you're getting through. Then you start to see the cars with all the grass and the leaves all growing over them, and then you get to the bridge and all the traffic's all like jammed up, and in the distance you see Seattle. It was so good. It looked amazing. I was so excited to see that. I was thinking, I can't wait to actually see what it's going to look like when they get to Seattle. And we aren't fully in it yet, but from the distance and everything that I've seen around it was great. They did an amazing job at portraying Seattle in The Last of Us. So, yeah, what a great episode again. I really enjoyed it. It was slower, but I feel like it was needed, getting ready for what's to come. And, yeah, I just really thought it was great all around. The performances. Ellie finally started to feel a little bit better, a bit more like Ellie. She does feel a little bit more grown up. I like the chemistry between Dina and Ellie. Just, the Seraphites now being introduced, Seattle, and just seeing all of the wAFF at the end, how many they are with the tanks and everything. Yeah, I can't wait for the next 3 episodes. For me, my rating for episode 3 is a 7 out of 10. So that's it for my review, guys. I will be doing episode 4 review again next week. I am in South America, though, playing, so I don't know exactly when I'll get around to doing it. But I will do my best to try and get it done on the day of the show. But yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Drop me a like if you enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments what you thought to episode 2 and 3. Are you enjoying the show so far? Do you agree that Ellie felt a little bit more like Ellie this episode? I'd love to know your thoughts down below. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe. That'd be amazing. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.